Oh, here's the daily chart. And I just recently, in 2025, released another PD array. It's the suspension block. It's an inefficiency. Now, normally, folks would look at this candlestick's low to that candlestick's high and say that's an inefficiency. Well, yes, there's an inefficiency there, yes. But the real inefficiency is framed by the volume imbalance down here and that volume imbalance there. So this candlestick's open and that candlestick's close. That's what's being shown here. So this candle's what's being highlighted. It's the ICT suspension block. It's another form of buy side imbalance, sell side efficiency. It is not, underscore, not a quote unquote liquidity void. Okay. A liquidity void is when there's no trading at all. That's an actual gap. There's no buying and selling in there. That's a liquidity void. There's been no liquidity offered at all. That's the only void that exists in price. So there's your suspension block, okay? Now, by having this information on your chart, let's go back down into that same chart. Wow. What you're saying, ICT, is the market went down, couldn't even get to the upper quadrant of it, and consolidated. And then it retraced right back up towards the first percent fair value gap, and it's the high of that suspension block on the daily chart. That's a premium array. What do you think a premium array on a daily chart is going to do to price if it's bearish? Send it lower. Do you think it went lower off of that? Sure it did. But a lot of you probably were caught off guard because you're not looking for things on the daily chart. You're looking at 1 minute charts and 15-second charts and 5-second charts, 1-second chart, little squiggly patterns, trying to come up with something, trying to invent something, instead of just simply using this stuff that's been handed to you for free. Cast forth a vision. Where is price at now? What is it permissible? Is it allowed to go to this high, to this inefficiency? Is it working in the upper half of a inefficiency above price while still being bearish? Is it respecting only the lower half of that? That's indicating bearishness. It's weak. It's going to send price lower. All these factors have to be weighed in the balance while you're doing it. So you can imagine how difficult this is going to be for you if you think you're just going to watch a video or two, get a PDF file from someone taking notes from my stuff and thinking, wow, I'm going to be able to do this and save myself a lot of time. You don't save time doing that. You increase the amount of time it's going to take for you to learn it. It sounds impossible, but that's exactly what happens. Just simply submit to the process. Go through it slowly. Take notes. Watch what price has done yesterday, last week, and break them down. Do this with your charts. Notice what it's done here at 130. It creates that little run up to the top of that daily suspension block. That right there is this high of that candlestick's open. So that little segment inside that candlestick is price simply going right here, going up to go down. That's all it is. And when you anticipate when price is going to likely do these types of things and gravitate towards, well, let's go back out to the daily chart. Half of this range here, that's this blue line here. So up here, upper quadrant, that's reasonable because it would be going below that low. If there's sell side below that, try to reach to the upper quadrant of that daily suspension block. It hits it, and look what it does. It hits it and slices through it. So it means what? It's likely going to reach for half of that range that's down here. And it just fell short of it there. We have the new week opening gap presently today formed there. But that's a nice drop off. That right in here actually was working with my son Caleb and my brother-in-law. I only said his name. I don't want to say his name. I don't want to. I don't want to slip up and give out personal information about that. But I've been coaching them since the 20th of this month. They came over and I was teaching them how to read price action and whatnot. And I've done a couple things each day, showing them consistently every single day, even during the holiday volume stuff, going in and nailing it. Getting near the highs and near the lows, and vice versa, buying and selling. And I'm trying to get him to learn how to trade. So he knows that I did this trade in here, and that little tiny little piece of a move was enough to make $2,100 on paper. Is it's holiday. I'm not trying to get out here and be stupid, right? So, but it proves the point. Just getting out there and looking for something that makes sense. Is there a narrative that you can exploit behind what price is doing at the moment? If you can't build a narrative as why price is doing what you think it should do to find a price run to profit off of, if you can't make that make sense in price action, chances are you're forcing a setup, you're gambling, and you're going to go on tilt. That means you're simply bored or you're being impatient and you're not following a model. You're gambling. You're letting the gambler drive the car and you're falling asleep like it's a Tesla driving you to the winner's circle. No, no way. If I'm going to be in the marketplace, I'm driving it. I'm the one doing it. Okay. I would never own a car that drives itself, and I would never let someone that's out of control drive my trading plan. And that is what I was at 20 years old. Trading plans and trading models were an alien concept to me then. Now it's all I consider. If there isn't a plug and play approach to what I see in price action, I've been here before. I know what it's doing. I know what it's trying to do here. I know it's going to use this type of manipulation. I know it's going to try to do this or that. That's how I can read every candle. And when I can't read every candle, I take a step back and say, I'm not interested. It's simple. I use the pre market hours. That's being 7 o'clock to 9:30 in the morning. I'll watch during those times. And if I'm really dialed in and I'm calling every candlestick's fluctuation and I'm really in rhythm with it, I know I'm going to destroy the opening range and I'm going to probably get the low of the day or the high of the day and just rip the market apart. But if I'm not able to do that in pre market hours, then I'm going to wait probably till 10 o'clock. So I'll let the first 30 minutes trade. See how beneficial that is knowing that? Now, if you're not someone that considers the marketplace before 9:30 and you're not considering what the market's done between 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time to 9:30 open, that's a plethora of opportunities in and of itself there. But for setting the tone for what the market should and shouldn't do, how it should behave, how it should deliver after 9:30 opening bell, there's no better resource than determining what the pre-market's done. In this case, this market ran up straight up during pre-market session just to get to an old December 23rd displacement fair value gap after a turtle soup. So those things matter. And I don't want you to take my word for it. It's not cherry picking. If you go back and look at a lot of my old trades that were recorded and placed on X, I'm using these types of things sometimes. You're never going to be taught that in those little snippets in those videos, but that's sometimes the answer to your question. Why did I pick that fair value gap? Chances are it was probably one of these. The concept of first presentation is important. It's very important. And if you understand what you're looking for, there's logic behind it. Look how many seriously, I've watched over the course of this month that just passed in December. And I said to my brother-in-law, I said to my best friend I grew up with, and my children, I said, "Look how often the first presented fair value gap is just hammering opportunities after next, after next, after next, over and over and over again." And I know some of you are thinking, like, "This is crazy. This is crazy." Right. If they're gonna change the algorithm, why is it still working? If they changed it, why is that still working? They're not gonna change it, okay? I promise you. I have no intentions of making any changes. So, hopefully, this is starting to make a little sense to you, and you're learning.